Okay.
Wait. Well,
Please rise for the flag salute.
Carl.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United
United
States.
States of America,
And
and one nation,
Physical liberty and justice for all.
Put the match.
Welcome to the June 12th, 2025 Egg Harbor City Council meeting. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, the state of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting, the Egg Harbor City Common Council was provided in the following manner. It was posted on the Egg Harbor City Bulletin Board, on the Egg Harbor City website, and it was sent to the Hamilton Gazette and the Atlantic City Press. Roll call, please.
Mayor Jim Petty. Here. Clark.
Here,
Councilman Dash will not be here. Dovey.
here,
Oh, there you go.
Galloway. Here. Heist. Here. Hesse.
here,
Keener.
Here.
Timbers.
Here.
Right.
Here.
Okay, number 4 on our agenda is approve the minutes for May 22nd, 2025.
motion.
second,
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
aye,
Opposed? Approved. Okay, number 5. I just want to make a statement. We have number 28. That. Was advertised that we were gonna do it tonight. However, it's being postponed until rescheduled to the 26th meeting,
The public hearing.
public hearing for that ordinance. And number 17, that's just a resolution, right?
Yeah, we can speak on that time, but ordinance,
7.
Yeah.
Ordinance number 7, it's in reference to the trash and recycling carts. So that'll be on the 26th. So at this point, is there any public comment on any agenda items? I see none. We'll go to mayor's report.
Okay, so I guess everybody knows by now, tennis and pickleball courts are open. For the past 3 or 4 years, the two things I've heard from most of the residents was the bowling alley and we need a pickleball court. So we solved one problem, all right, so news, and if you haven't been there, go visit, it's beautiful. We did get that with a grant, a recreation grant. And part of it was with money that had to be spent, was mandatory to be spent by the DCA when we sold our water treatment plant. First grade was at City Hall on Wednesday, and they had a really good time. They visit City Hall and the police department. So Chief and I take care of that. We run them through and they go through all the departments. So it was a fun day for the kids. It was kind of hot though. And I want to, for city council, I wanted to let you know that I have finished revising the personnel manual. And I think the last time there was revisions was 2023.
yes,
So that's been revised and I did give it to Jerry to review because it's now going to be Jerry's job. And I don't have to have a headache for 2 weeks trying to do it. So Jackie is going to email a copy out to city council. There's also a mayor's letter attached, as there usually is, stating what the changes were and what anything that was removed was also. So be looking for that in your email tomorrow, because I'm hoping to
that will be coming before council.
vote on it the
26th.
next meeting, the 26th. So, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I also had an opportunity to speak with Stephanie from Triad. She was inquiring about what types of grants. We have 3 CDBG grants open right now, which if I think the City Hall is going to get started soon, right, Ryan?
Yeah.
Because we wanted to apply, we discussed applying for a grant for the library to make it ADA accessible. I'm not quite sure what the library looks like inside, but I will call the librarian unless you have more information on that.
No, it says a month there.
Okay.
Mayor, I don't think we should call the library. It's our building. We probably should
Well, it's our building.
Yeah.
It's our building.
We're
The
gonna-
building that the library's
We're
in.
gonna need an outdoor lift or a weatherproof lift or some kind of a access to get in, cause it's.
Yeah.
can't get in.
Well, we can talk about that, right? I mean,
But I think it's
It's
our
great.
property, so
yeah.
I think keep it in-house.
It is.
Yes. Whatever you want to do. I mean, but that's about the only project that'll qualify because there has to be an ADA component.
Yeah.
Unless someone can think of another city-owned property that.
No, I think it's a good idea. I just said, I don't think we need to call the librarian yet.
No, I was just gonna ask her what the ADA situation was. I don't want to call her and discuss it with her.
Right.
I mean, she works in the library. She would probably know what
Needs.
the needs, exactly.
Can I say something? We just, Jerry and I just had an inspection over at the library and those steps are pretty steep and
Mhm.
I just wanted to mention that the Longport Historical Society has a second floor too, and they installed one of those chairs that go up the side, but it takes up so much room. Those steps though are very wide and very steep, so.
Well, the possibility of
An
funding,
elevator on the exterior
Yeah.
might be the only way.
we can get 400,000. That's, so
Mhm.
whatever
Well,
we can
that-
do.
That would cover it probably.
Whatever we can do with that, we'll do. I know the front steps are not ADA compliant. The back, I don't know what they have in the back. I don't know what their bathrooms look like, and that's the information. That, okay.
Yeah, there's no way.
I mean, the county, if you remember, they installed the railing up front. Remember, they were
Mhm.
very helpful.
Yeah, they were.
With, in the past.
It's not possible, but.
And then we also discussed, historic grant possibly for the, log cabin out at the lake. But it would have to be made some sort of a meeting room or for a nonprofit or possibly a museum. But that, I don't know if that's doable because we would definitely have to have someone out there manning it, and I don't believe we have the manpower to do that. And we also discussed, as you know, the congressional discretion grant, they did not give it to anybody this year. So she suggested that possibly we put the same grant in for the next fiscal year for the government and for the pumper truck for the fire department. It wouldn't be quite as expensive as the first grant because it's already pretty much written. It would just have to be a resubmission. So, and now that's what I talked to her about today. So I think those were really good ideas. I don't know if you want to comment on
What's
this.
that?
Well, this year's passed because I told her not to do it because I didn't think they were giving any money. So the next one I think is
26.
26, okay. So what does everybody think about the congressional aid? Or
Definitely.
congressional discretion grant?
Definitely, I would say go for it. Is this for an additional truck?
Well, we
Or
have
the-
we have a ladder truck that we're getting, next year, May or something? And the pumper truck needs to be replaced, and we did apply
did
for that
apply.
last year and we didn't get it.
Not to interrupt your report, but Jerry sent me a advertisement that went through all the administrators through the state. And it was a pumper truck from
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Somerville.
Yeah, you did tell me.
That's 2018,
Yeah.
fully loaded.
Mm.
And they're
Mm.
selling it because their volunteer group has diminished.
Okay.
And I talked to the chief and he is looking into it.
Oh, good.
I
Okay.
I didn't know,
They have a fire administrator. I connected our chief with their fire administrator up in Somerville.
okay.
I don't know anything past that or recent.
Yeah, I don't know if we can make a deal with them, but
Well,
trucks now are very expensive.
we have.
Buy a used truck that's in good shape,
Yeah.
like this one.
Yeah.
It matches the kind of trucks. that
Grant
we-
money for that to buy a used vehicle, or does it have to, no, it would have to be a new vehicle,
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
which is years, like 2 or 3, 4 years away all the time.
Right, waiting
Oh,
to
yeah.
get it.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
All right, so whatever you guys decide on that, just let me know so I can relate, or let Jerry know. Or have you met Stephanie yet from Triad?
No, and I never worked with her in the past. So.
Well, you can let me know what you decide to do if you hear anything more from the chief.
Share the email with you.
Mayor,
Yeah.
I actually have a question for the log cabin,
Okay,
and I put this up before, Atlantic County, if you go out to Stell Manor, we talked about this, remember the built the property
Parks and Rec.
Parks, you know, whatever it was. Atlantic County, if you go to Stella Manor, they have that like museum.
Okay,
If we could redo the log cabin and rent it to the county and then put a ranger there, because the net keeps telling us that Egg Harbor has all the hidden forests and all the hidden trails. And if we could rent it to the county and then put an educational ranger in there that can do programs with our kids
right,
and and make that a
Right.
functional place. That's what my son does in Pennsylvania. He's an educational ranger and he creates curriculum. And then homeschool kids and private schools and parents, Boy Scouts, they come to his presentations and he teaches the kids about fishing and tracking and bird watching, and he teaches them how to shoot archery and kayak and do all those kind of things. And his is through the state. But if we could get something like that through the county and put them out there, that would be an awesome addition to what we have out there at the lake.
Right, well, the only problem is the rent component, that's why we could not get it fixed. If you could give it to the county or to the state and let them operate it, but you cannot rent it. If you have a rental attachment, then you won't get the grant, that's what she said.
Okay, so maybe we could make it that we're going.
So we could fix it up and let them run
Let
it.
them, let them use it. Is it sure, they're gonna use it, or is it
I
shared
don't see-
service,
yeah.
or, you know,
or a joint
Yeah.
application.
Steph would be able to answer that better than I would, but it sure sounds like a good thing to put on an application, you know?
it's educational and everybody likes when you use that E word in a grant, so.
Yeah,
Wouldn't you have to reach out to the county to see if they would be interested?
Yeah,
we could. I'll talk to Steph about it and then I'll see what she says. If she thinks that would be a good idea. She was gonna go back to her group and discuss it, try to come up with something creative, but I think that's a good
And I
idea.
may be able to get you a copy of like some of the curriculums that Gwen has used in the past, just as samples. That you could
Yeah.
have her look at to
a
see
good idea.
how it works.
Yeah, because we have to do something. I mean, that's old. It's been a part of Egg Harbor City.
You know,
Yeah.
that
With the state.
welcome center.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Was it, that's what she was saying?
Yes, through the
Yeah.
state or through the county or something like that.
Okay, so a couple dates, Cedar Creek will be at the lake tomorrow for their annual Cedar Creek Senior Picnic. I believe they're rolling in at 8:30 and they'll probably be out by 11:30. Chief's gonna be flipping burgers out there. I'll try to get out there, but I can't make any promises, but I will. I will try. Fireworks are on July 19th. Of course, we have the yard sale scheduled, August 2nd. And along with the firehouse dinner on August 2nd. The Egg Harbor City Community School graduation is the 18th at 4 p.m. And Cedar Creek graduation is Thursday, the 19th, and I believe that starts at 6. And one last thing, next week, we have a strategic planning meeting scheduled at 6 o'clock. And I'm hoping to wrap that up and put it to bed because we have to put something in the mail.
Next week. Are you coming back?
No, I'm sorry, the next meeting before the council meeting, 6 o'clock, right, Meg?
Yes.
And so start thinking about some of the things we talked about, possibly what you feel our mission is, okay, what our vision is. And we did establish some values, but I think we have to hone them. We have to really tighten them up a bit because we had an awful lot of them. So mission statement, vision statement, start thinking about those things. You can Google samples. The police department has one. I'm not gonna put Chief on the spot, but the best police department in Atlantic County, somewhere along that line. And let's see. I think that's all I have. Thank you. Oh, I did want to say one thing, that we do have a punch list going for the tennis courts. Jerry met with Gary and Butchie, and they did identify a few things that have to be fixed, especially when there's rain. So Jerry's following up on that with the contractor that did the project. So that'll get finished if anybody else sees anything there. And that's all I have.
Contractors won't get paid until we fix it.
Anything?
Yeah.
Good.
I'm good.
Okay. Councilman Wright for Parks and Playgrounds.
Yeah. We met on Monday night about the pavilion over there at the Lincoln Park, about taking that gazebo down. The committee had voted against it, about taking it down. We did come up with some suggestions with that thing. One, I'm not sure if we have those signs up for drinking and smoking and stuff. up
We
in there.
do, but I asked Jerry or that was a chief's section,
I don't think it-
suggestion.
Right.
But I did ask you to order the sign.
Get the- yeah.
Basically getting those hung, basically turn the electric off to the Lincoln Park, so they can't.
It's already done.
Yeah, so they can't charge their phones and all that stuff and hang out there. Basically replace the roof
That's already, we have a. plan.
and maybe if worse comes to worse, putting cameras out there. But after the meeting, I talked with Jerry when we had our public works meeting and, by code, we don't even need a fence, a rail over there.
No.
We could take the rail down,
Mhm.
just leave the gazebo, take the rail down, they don't got nowhere to hang out and stand up there anyway.
And the chief gets the credit for that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So take the rail down, fix the roof, problem solved. That's what I think. So,
Rail's pretty much down.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's almost halfway down now.
I would like to say another thing, if you don't mind.
Yeah, good.
We had the Water Fest on Saturday and it was very well attended. It was
Mhm.
really nice. There's like 1 million cigarette butts
Mm.
all over.
Yeah.
So I would suggest that possibly you get some more of those
Stand up.
cigarette, not that they'll use them,
Right.
but literally it's the ground is white from the cigarette butts.
Isn't it no smoking in all our
That's
parks?
what I was asking, with those signs, it says.
Exactly.
No drugs.
We shouldn't entice them.
Right.
kind of
Yeah,
being.
it's stupid.
Well, does anybody want to volunteer to clean them up? That's fine. I'll give you some grabbers. I have some in the
No, no,
office.
we have a more commercial way of cleaning them up. We're not gonna pick
Okay.
one up and grab it. We'll get it.
Okay.
Vacuuming
And that also
No.
falls under.
We got this.
So is there, are you making that a motion that we fix what's there to those specs? Take the,
Correct. Just
Take the
basically
rail
fixing the
down.
roof, taking the rail down.
okay. Is there a second? to that?
Second.
Who is first? Mason.
So a motion has been made and seconded. Questions about the motion? So we're gonna fix the roof and paint it and
Yep.
take the rails
I
out.
just think it's just part of the park and all you're doing is just moving the problem. You take that down and then where they're going, it's.
Well, it also, I would add,
Near Wolf Hall.
you're gonna have to spray the termites because there's a termite problem.
Oh, yeah, I think there was some,
I don't have that license though, but I'll get somebody. to-
I can get,
Okay.
All right, so we're doing a resolution, or do we did get a quote for it, does that?
Yeah, we
matter?
did get a quote. Did we get a quote without the steel?
No, it hasn't.
Not
been
yet?
revised yet.
Okay, so,
We'll get a quote without the steel encased railing,
right,
because that's what we're gonna put up there. Fixing the roof, there's two roofs, there's a cupola roof and the regular roof. There's some floorboards that need to be replaced and then the stain, the green stain, redo the green stain on the decking. So we'll get a quote for that and move that
But
forward.
it'll be less than the quote you're.
Oh, yeah, quite a bit, yeah, quite a bit, a fraction.
Chief,
Talk about closing the electrical panel.
Yeah, there has been talk about it. More of a steel casing over the top of it, right?
okay, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
We're
Yeah,
moving
we-
forward with all the repairs.
Okay, roll call.
Is that, no, is it okay?
That's what.
That's what it is.
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Dovey,
yes,
Galloway,
yes.
Ice,
Yes.
Hesse,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes.
Timbers,
yes,
right.
yes.
Anything else, guys?
No, that was it.
Okay. Councilwoman Galloway for Sustainable Lake Harbor City. and-
Yeah. And I have something. I'm sitting in a hole. There's a couple resolutions on the agenda tonight. One is for us to apply for a Sustainable Communities Grant through Atlantic City Electric and Sustainable Jersey. Two grants, one is 5,000 for Forest Management Plan for the area north of Moss Mill Road, and the other one is a stewardship grant to install a labyrinth at Peace Pilgrim Park and replace the steps to Inner Peace plaques. These grants are due at the end of the month, and although we're applying for 2 awards, only one can be awarded. So I guess it would be up to their committee to decide which one they think is more valuable. We could put a preference on there that forestry grant is our first preference, then the recreation.
And that's the
grant.
Egg Harbor City Sustainable.
Yeah, it's already on the agenda. And then the There's also on the agenda a memorandum of understanding with Cape Atlantic Soil Conservation District to do a heat island assessment, which a young man named Tyler Savage has been working on. And it's a sustainable Jersey action, but it's really interesting to see what he sent so far. That our largest heat island area is Philadelphia Avenue.
Yep.
So now that the drought has all but subsided, we're planting a tree planting project for the fall. We hope to plant about 200 trees. We'll be replacing 1-to-1 all the trees that are being removed currently. I think there's 116 scheduled for removal. And we'll be replacing also the tree grates on Philadelphia Avenue where the male ginkgo trees are.
Did you say you're replacing trees as well? Replacing the trees as well?
Not in the same spot, but you know.
Because I had suggestions for some other.
Yeah, right
trees.
there, let me know. And then the drought is over. The governor lifted the drought restrictions in most of the state except for Atlantic Cape May County. We're still a little bit dry, but with the rain that's forecast over the weekend, then we should be okay. But although the drought is over, I am still interested in forwarding that water conservation ordinance that would have odd, even watering during the summer months whenever they call a drought emergency. So I'd like to have that discussed at the ordinance committee next time.
Send it out. I have a copy, I can send it out to the full council if you want.
Okay.
We can review
There's
it.
another one that came
Oh,
across my
another
desk, so it might be revised, but
Is
that's
that
it.
a sample from the state?
I have one that is recommended by the state and another one that was passed in Longport. And it's very simple. It just says odd side of the street, you water on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and the other side is Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Nobody waters on Sunday. But that would only be put into effect if there was a drought restriction.
Like 1976 with the potty and gas prices.
Yeah, like, right. You remember that? You're not that old. You must have been 3 years old.
It's a little older than that. We drove to Disney during that.
We're also working to bring an environmental expert and renowned author. His name is Doug Tallamy. He's a professor at the University of Delaware. We're going to be bringing him to Cedar Creek High School in September, sometime in September. That's a big deal. People will come from all over to hear him speak. And we contacted the high school and they're willing to give us the Performing Arts Center at no cost. So that's a big deal. And that'll be funded through the grant, the federal tree grant. Let me see. Oh, and you talked about the senior center work, the ADA compliance. But when we did our inspection, we noted that the men's room, bathroom floor needs to be replaced.
That's
So
all I'm right.
I know it's in there, but,
Both bathrooms and
okay, but you have vinyl.
Okay.
You have vinyl flooring
Oh.
in your
yeah,
estimate. Is there any chance it could be ceramic tile?
Sure,
Slip.
yeah, we just had, I think we had like a luxury house line or something like that throughout the facility, so
Yeah.
it's just nice. No transitions.
Right.
Waterproof.
Right.
We're open to whatever.
All right, and that's all I have here.
And I just want to ask one with the grates, with the tree grates on Philadelphia Avenue. We experienced a lot of them getting stolen.
They're
So
going to be made out of composite materials,
Okay.
not metal.
that's good to know.
That's
You're
right.
gonna anchor them down?
Yeah, they're lighter and they're better for the trees because you're not
Right.
putting weight
Okay,
on those
good.
top roots.
Good to know.
Yeah, but they're worthless on the
Yeah,
black
no
market.
worthless.
On the black market.
And
They cost us money, but they're worthless.
That's it.
It's
Okay,
part of
thank you.
property stuff.
Councilwoman Hesse for safety code and Rotary.
Rotary, I really don't have anything, but I just would like to say that we've been having our meetings at the Firehouse Crossroads and now the Inn of St. Louis we're at now. We do our best to patronize all the businesses in the towns. And we have 2 meetings a month and one is held in Egg Harbor City. So now we're at the Inn of St. Louis. Anyway, that's all I have to say about Rotary. The Safety Committee, we had a meeting last night And we reviewed the progress since previous meeting in January. Most of the action items from January meeting have been successfully implemented. A few outstanding items are still in progress and are being actively followed up. Additionally, the claims review will be discussed in more detail with our administrator. That's it for safety. The code committee, we met 2 software companies on June 3rd, and our current vendor and Edmunds. After hearing what they both had to offer, we decided to stay with our current vendor, MC Systems. The system may not be as user-friendly and is missing a few bells and whistles, but it remains more cost-effective option and meets the needs of our small town. There was a retraining meeting with MC Solutions yesterday. Jerry had told me about it. Jerry, do you have anything to say about that, the retraining meeting?
So we did the retraining meeting as an entire department. So I did it along with every employee in the building department and code department. And we were able to get our new code enforcement officer, a part-time code enforcement officer, registered as well. So he's already on board and using the iPad already. So
That's great.
it was
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah, and he was very generous with his time. His name's Mike. Mike is very generous with his time. So
That's
we're able
good.
to get everyone retrained, and then the new employees, myself and David, trained as well. So
He came in, he was in.
here we said,
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
And the iPads, you think there shouldn't be a problem with them using them in the field now?
no, there won't be a problem unless the employee doesn't want to use them, which I'll take care of.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
The bowling alley property is being addressed basically in 3 parts: the inside, the outside, and the Pinelands, which is the rear property.
Mhm.
Jerry, do you have any updates that you can share regarding the Pinelands? If you can't share it, then.
And we just
fine as well.
communicated with the owner that we wouldn't be necessarily entertaining any new permits until the Pinelands issue was resolved. So that was something that we needed to do probably a little while ago, but because of my background with the Pinelands, I was able to communicate that to the individual, that they have to take care of that before anything else gets done.
Thank you, Jerry.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Chris, do you have anything to add about the outside?
No, we were in court, probably 3 weeks ago or so. I think I updated.
Was that about the inside or outside?
That was the outside.
It was the outside. Okay. I
Yeah,
didn't
so
hear
I think
anything.
that was the last update. I know, and at that time, the court gave the property owner 60 days to clean up the outside. And if it wasn't done in 60 days, I'd send a letter notifying him that he had a very limited time in that period to clean it up, or else the city would come in and do it at his expense.
And has a 60 days elapsed?
No, we
Okay.
have probably till sometime in July.
July 12th.
July 12th.
It's on my calendar.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jerry. And thank you, Chris. Is there anything else you have to add?
There's another court case coming up for the inside.
He was cited for the inside. Not sure where that stands right now. I can check with code.
Somebody told me a date in July for that.
I know that there was an appeal filed with the
For the-
construction board of appeals.
So we went so Rich Saunders, the building inspector, and I went to the Construction Board of Appeals. Mr. Senna did not show up. We explained what we're dealing with. And so the Construction Board of Appeals has set up a hearing for the 23rd of June, of which Rich and I will attend as well. And we'll see if Mr. Senna shows up. But as far as the informal indication from the Construction Board of Appeal is that he doesn't really have any leg to stand on. So that we've been doing everything correctly and they understand our dilemma.
It's gonna be a process.
Yeah, it's gonna be a process, yeah.
And I know that Steve Buckhoffer was there probably over a month ago,
Oh, yeah.
and he wrote a bunch of things up that really should have been addressed. I believe the 30 days have passed
They have,
and they weren't addressed.
and they're being
None of
cited,
them are being
they're being
addressed.
cited daily.
Okay.
Mhm.
We're doing everything we can.
Thank you. Thank you for
Go,
doing.
you know, hopefully a long way at some point.
Yeah, we knew it wasn't going to happen like
No.
that, but as long as the process is rolling, that's all we can ask for.
Yep.
Thanks. And lastly, but certainly not least, a reminder of the Egg Harbor City Shines, our ongoing citywide beautification campaign. We encourage all property owners to take a moment to evaluate their properties and please check for trash and debris, damaged or non-compliant fences, inoperable or unregistered vehicles, missing or obscured house numbers. That's so important. House numbers. To me, you're jeopardizing yourself, you're jeopardizing our police, our fire, our firemen coming there, if they have to waste time, and the people that live in the property if you don't have a house number. Also, any overgrown vegetation or poorly maintained landscapes. Remember, these issues can negatively impact the health, safety, and property values and overall impression of our community. Let's help Egg Harbor City shine, and together we can make a difference. And the last thing I want to say, again, you may be getting tired of hearing me say it, but it bears repeating. The ACUA does not pick up electronics, including TVs. Electronics must be taken to Public Works from Monday through Friday, 8 to 3. If you are unable to get there during those hours, 4-H offers electronic recycling on the third Saturday of most months from 9 to 12 at the fairgrounds on Route 50. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Timbers, ordinance.
Nothing to report.
Councilwoman Clark. For the school board.
Just a quick reminder, as the mayor noted in her report, the school year ends next week. So just a reminder to the public to please slow down while traveling through the residence, as many of our streets are 25 miles per hour, and our kids are going to be out riding their bikes, walking, to the park, hopefully to the pickleball courts and learn. And just please be mindful of our kids that are out in the streets. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Dovey.
Yes, the Public Works Committee met last week. We had a briefing from Jerry on the immediate needs of staffing in the Public Works Department, with somebody out on extended leave, plus the resignation earlier in the year on the temper. So the committee is recommending on tonight's agenda the hiring of one full-time laborer, step one in the Teamsters under the Teamsters contract, and one part-time temporary laborer who will work at least through the summer on a part-time basis during the week. The committee, Steve Mason, Jerry, and myself all met, and the committee was in concurrence and recommends the approval of those two hires. I'll defer to Jerry in his administrator / Public Works Director report to go into other details about the Public Works operations this last couple of weeks. That's it.
17. All right, Mr. Dovey, you want to make a motion for those two hires? Actually, three, right?
There's also a third one, code, correct?
Yes.
So I'll make that motion.
I thought it was already on the agenda.
I didn't put it on the agenda. I sent it out to you guys.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion for Mr. Dovey. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. You need a roll call on this?
Yes.
Roll call. Yes.
You forgot to answer questions.
Okay. Question.
When we hired Jerry, no offense to Jerry, we were told that we were not replacing the full-time employee, that his salary and the salary of the Public Works supervisor were going to be combined to go towards Jerry's salary. Now, within 6 months of that, we're hiring a full-time worker. When did that change?
Mr. Dovey.
It did not change. We said we had no intention of hiring a full-time public works director.
Oh, I was also told we were not replacing,
When Jerry was hired as a part-time public works director, it wasn't for another month or so before the employee resigned. So at the point of time that we hired Jerry, that was not part of the picture at all.
I beg to differ, Councilman Joby, when Councilman Keener called the three of us, Councilwoman Clark, myself, and Councilman Dash, it was told to us that the salary of the full-time employee and the salary of the public works director were going to be combined together to go towards Jerry's salary.
Well,
Yes, I'm telling you what we were told. You can shake
that
your
was,
head.
that
No.
was true. I mean, you're
Thank
saying.
you. That's what we were told. I'm not making it up. That's what we were told.
Yeah, but it's not, the full-time person that's being replaced is the person that resigned. And that was a nephew of someone that worked there, just so you know.
Who it was.
Yeah.
I
I think what they're talking about.
That has nothing to do with the cost of eggs, who it was.
Well-
What we're talking about is we were told that it wasn't going to happen, and that money was going towards Jerry's salary. So my question is, where is the money coming from, basically, to cover this new full-time, if that money was going towards Jerry's salary? Because this new person is being hired, I'm assuming at a step one or whatever it is, to cover his salary. So where is that money coming
There's
from?
two ways we're covering this out. One is, there is a gentleman from Public Works who's out for an extended period of time. That has happened recently. So he's gonna be out at least 20 weeks. Is that what we know?
In the neighborhood.
And also, on the agenda for tonight is a joint services agreement with Hamilton to take, some of Jerry's time.
But we were also told that when we talked on
But
the
that would
phone
have,
today,
that
was.
was part of
That
it,
was part
but
of
it
it.
would have made it better for us. We were saving money already with that, without Jerry going to Hamilton. So this is gonna cover that. Plus, we have some guys that are pretty close to retirement. And we're down to a skeleton crew right now. There's 3 guys. And by bringing in the part-timer, it's gonna work 2 days a week, correct, Jerry?
Correct. 2 days.
And most of his job is gonna be to cut lawns.
Mhm.
And the other guy will be in training and working with us to keep this staff going. We'll have to deal with that if the other guy does come back. But from what I hear is his injuries are pretty severe.
But I will say too, the current employees, without mentioning, some have injuries that are at doctors a couple times a week out of work, so they are short.
They're not working
Just,
40 hours.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
we're very-
I'm saying we don't need the help.
We're very
I just
short.
wanted to understand, because we were told that where that money was going to, and now all of a sudden we're hiring somebody, so I wanted to know
So Jody,
where that money's coming from.
can you confirm what I just said?
Sorry, where the money coming from?
It's, well, workman's comp covers the one salary.
Not workman's comp, disability will cover a
disability.
portion for the employee that is out,
And the joint service with Hamilton.
and then the joint service will cover them.
So
But the employees that are
we,
injured, that are at doctors. will-
yeah, that's what I meant. So we also lose an employee once or twice a
Don't
week
really
to
get
workman's
anything
comp.
for that.
But that still continues to be workman's comp, and we're
Mhm.
impacted negatively by that.
Yeah, and there's, without getting into personalities. there-
Saying that we don't like lose time for that, I
Could I-
just wait for when they go.
I know, but without getting into personalities, we
I think
have another person who's working not 100%.
Right, I understand the whole makeup of Public Works. I think I was a Public Works chair for how many years? I get all that. My question was, where was the finances coming from to cover the full-time employee, not who's out, not who's using disability, none of that. It was where was the finances coming from? Because we were told at the beginning that they were going.
And
That money
if
was
this
going
one
towards
person
it.
wouldn't have gone out for an extended period, we probably wouldn't be doing this. So I think to keep the department operating sufficiently, we need this person.
Thank you, I appreciate the explanation.
Now I'm confused, because, the part-timer was the one that's supposed to be filling in for the one that we're out, not the
Yeah.
full-time.
He's gonna work 2 days a week.
Yeah, he's filling in
Correct.
out for the 20 weeks.
We
He's
do hire
full-time.
seasonal,
The guy that's out is full-time.
Usually
he's
hire 2
full-time.
seasonal.
right? We usually do hire seasonal to
Mm.
cut lawns, so that's usually something that happens, and I got that when I wasn't questioning, but I was questioning where the new full-timer.
It's a fair question, and you're right, what you said about what I told you in the beginning. And, but things have changed because of the.
And I appreciate your explanation, thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Dovey?
No,
We have a first and a second.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay. All in favor, roll call.
Clark,
Yes.
Jovi,
yes,
Galloway,
Yes.
Heist,
Yes.
Essie.
Yes.
Keener,
Yes.
Timbers,
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, now, Mr. Dovey, anything else?
no, none at this
Okay.
time.
Yeah, thank you. Donna, did you have anything?
No. Like I said, I appreciate the explanation.
All right. Okay, I have a report for finance for the tax office. And there's a lot of entries here, but I'll just give you the bottom line. The deposits for the current month were 2,020,509.93. And year to date, we've taken in on deposits of $5,314,676.03. The majority of that is through taxes. There's interest that we collect on money we have. Municipal lien redemption is 35,000 of that. Late badges are 16,000 of that. They're the big thing. Pilot payments, which I think are done now. There's no pilot programs that are active anymore, but up to the year to date, we've taken in $6,800. But a total of $5,314,000.
There might be one or two, because I remember having to deal with that because they had to wait to apply until December when they bought the house.
And also for redevelopment, we had a meeting recently to discuss the Egg Harbor North. And our administrator, our engineer, and our attorney are working on updating our redevelopment plan for the Egg Harbor North, which was adopted back in 2009. And we have interested parties, interested developers that are looking to work with us in the Egg Harbor North. And we are working also on putting out an RFQ, request for qualifications for these developers. So we have options. And we think once the redevelopment plan is updated, it would even generate more interest in the redeveloper community. And we have a nice piece of ground up there. There's 250 lots that are potentially open for building, single family homes or townhomes or whatever. And it would be a real good shot in the arm and enhance that property around the high school in the Egg Harbor North area. It was going well when we had Mr. Haber back in 2010, 11, and then he passed away. And since then, it's kind of floundered. So with our professionals' help and us working to revive this project and seeing that developers are interested, we want to move forward with it and get it moving so we can see progress. Egg Harbor City's population has been stagnant at 4,300, 4,400 people since I can remember, and before I was born probably. And I would think if we could see this project through to the end, we could have a community over 5,000. And somewhere I read that a 5,000 population puts you in a different category. It will help stabilize taxes, raise our rateable base, which shares the taxes. We don't need new services, or we have all the services. Our schools, we're checking with them to see what kind of impact of development of 250 homes would have on that. But we don't see that it's going to be a major issue.
I already talked to Mr. Parker about that. You were with me,
Yes.
and he didn't feel it was going to be an issue because they're not all coming in and going to high school. They're going to
Yeah, they're not all
spread out.
here anyway.
So I think it would be a positive thing for us in the city and we'd like to see it happen.
And he
And
did
we're-
also say he would cut the program, the what's it called? Mace?
What?
Where they have a choice to
Oh,
go. So-
the magnet
The
program.
magnet, he would not take kids from the magnet
Mhm.
before the,
Mhm.
Right.
if it
So
would.
the
be
local
heard,
kids would
yeah.
go first.
Mhm.
Good.
How about our local schools, our smaller schools?
We did get a study from them, the VA sent us a study, and it didn't seem like it was
The middle
indicating
school, I
there would
think, can
be a
handle it.
problem.
Elementary
Yeah.
was a little.
When was the study done, do you know?
I don't know, I have it on my desktop, I'll send it to you if you'd like.
I know when we built the middle school, the community school, it was built for increased population.
Yeah.
And we have not increased our. So,
And we moved fourth grade over there, remember we moved fourth grade over, so maybe it'll come to the point where it's us gonna
Go
be
back,
impacted,
yeah.
they may have to.
Well, the
move
population is
third
definitely
grade
picking up
over.
there because the classes are getting
So-
fuller and I'm getting more kids, so. It's definitely
good
picking
thing,
up.
Mace.
I know. But then again, school taxes go up, so does my property tax.
well, hopefully not. Hopefully we have enough rateable base to grow, which that's the other
We
part
need
of this.
commercial ratables is what we need.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Once we have rooftops, and that's what everybody tells us in the redevelopment community. You can't lure the businesses into town unless you have the people that are gonna frequent them.
One of the reasons we were able to revitalize Hamilton is because we had the population. If you don't have the population, you're not gonna get that type of renaissance. that
We
you-
have some really nice businesses in town that
I know.
people really like, and I think we could get more of them in if we have.
Yeah.
people.
I agree.
Joe, you and I talked about this, a lot of people are like, well, why don't we get a ShopRite, why don't we get an Acme? Those place of businesses won't even look at a town that has under a certain amount of room.
That's true.
They don't care that South Egg Harbor's gonna shop here, they don't care that Mullica's gonna shop here, or Sweetwater, or Cologne. They wanna know how many rooftops are in the city of Egg Harbor City, and if we don't have enough rooftops, they take their business and they go someplace else. It doesn't matter who's going to come and frequent that store, matters how many rooftops we have within our city limits. That's a big thing.
Good, thank you. All right, that's all I had, Chief. As you're coming up, one question, and she was talking about, Lisa, the mayor, was talking about the not smoking in the park. What kind of enforcement can we do from a police standpoint or something like that?
Well, I mean, we can go out there and enforce that, but we need to, I would need from the mayor a prioritized list of what it is that needs to happen. We are budgeted for 17 and, you were talking about adding 200 or however many more homes. 3 people per home, that's 750 more people. So with 17 people, including me, we talk about being out of the schools, being out of the lake, patrolling and doing traffic enforcement. So we can be out at the park, but we need to say, okay, well, where?
Something's got to give.
Something's gotta give. In terms of the smoking, we'd actually have to physically be out there. It's very difficult to see from a distance if somebody is smoking or if they're vaping or anything like that. And what
Or
point in time-
drinking.
Well, at what point in time does it become harassment if we go in there and they're vaping? Because I don't know if it's the anti-vaping.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's
Vaping
in
and
the
smoking
ordinance,
same.
it's in the,
So, I mean, but we can definitely do enforcement on it. We can look at the littering, we can, look at all of that. But, it's one of those things where really prioritize what it is that, we feel is most important to have done. Because we are only 17 people and we're not even 17 right now. So we're only a certain amount of people and, can only pull in certain bound direction. But absolutely, that's something that we can address.
And signs and all that will probably help, right?
Or cameras might help.
Well, yeah, that's one thing that the administrator and I had spoken about, cameras could be beneficial in terms of being a deterrent and also for us to be able to view remotely what is going on.
That's right.
So, I mean, even if it's not anything that I know we had talked about the MPP stuff, but that's right outside of the MPP area.
we
So-
tried to get
yeah,
cameras there, but they
yeah.
wouldn't do it.
So, if there is any extra money in any budgets, not mine. Or anything like that, maybe talk later on. But, you know, that's something that maybe we should explore, and.
Maybe
look
there's
at.
grants out there.
So, you know.
Small cities.
So, you know, I'm not necessarily familiar with any grants for that. Jerry may have more insight into that, and we can talk about that and look at that along in there. But yeah, I think the cameras could be very helpful. More signage, so that way there's no question about, oh, well, I didn't know, so, you know. So yeah, I mean, these are absolutely issues that we can address, and again, you know, based on what is prioritization of what it is that the police department directions the mayor would like.
And chief, we just had a conversation about any signage that we put up, we should put the ordinance, the code is through there, because that's their first warning. Their first warning is the sign, the second would be the actual violation if, based on the discretion of the officer. So we're basically telling them, this is our ordinance and this is your warning.
Yeah, and we did have a good conversation about, some of the signs in the city have like what the resolution was. I
Yeah,
believe
no,
it is.
it's gotta
So
be.
we talked about, you know, actually putting the code, so for some things specifically for the pickleball courts, we
Yeah.
talked about, I was like, our catch-all is 2026. So, you know, put that on there, so that way, you know, when the officer sees, oh, okay, well, whatever they're doing and they're not supposed to, 2026 is what we're supposed to write. And if anybody goes on to Eco 360, they can just look up 2026 and see exactly what it is that we're referencing. As opposed to trying to find a resolution.
Right.
What, you can't find the ordinance for
No.
smoking, or you can?
Oh, no,
Okay.
I'm sure I can in Eco.
Cause we did that years ago with the smoke-free parks. Every park is the same.
Yeah, so I mean, if we have on the signs, the actual code, so.
Code, not the ordinance number,
Okay.
but the ordinance, it's hard to find an ordinance
Yeah.
in our archives and all that, so. it has
I don't
to
think
be
they do
the
wear
ordinance.
numbers on them.
Yeah,
So.
has to be the code.
Yeah, so. with-
It's just a sign that says no smoking, no dogs, no
But
alcohol.
we have to add the code.
Right.
We have to add the code.
At least
Yeah,
that's how they are
They
considered.
start signs and have the code are out at the lake, I think it's the wildlife one. I think
Mhm.
it's 157.
We
Yeah.
used to actually have them out there because people would question our pricing. They would say bad things, that we were making up prices because of certain reasons. But, so I did put them out there, but now we got all new signs last year with the price increases, so I didn't put the ordinance on those signs.
The code
We
section,
used to have them,
the
yeah.
code section with all the
The code,
fees,
yeah.
the code section with all the fees. That can be added. I can add this. I'm not gonna make new signs just because it's no, we'll just put it, we'll just add it on there. Yeah, we could.
Well, that's
I
an
think the
easy
trash
one,
cans
that's the
too,
parks.
for the cigarettes.
But that was a standard thing we did when we put up new signs. We'd always put the ordinance, I mean, the code number, because it was an easier way to communicate. Look, we're telling you what it is. Just, you can look at, anybody can look it up on their phone. It was the simplest thing.
Okay.
Right. So, are you asking for questions? Because I have a question regarding the street signs. You know, those little signs that you have up that are digital when people go by? On Burger Street. It's still there. I didn't know if that's supposed to be for a deterrent or what.
Yeah, we received calls from, I believe it was, well, I'm not gonna mention the resident's name.
Yeah.
But, you know, we got calls, oh, people are speeding around there and everything, so we put that out there. I believe that was specifically because of morning school time drivers that were coming down, Burger and then turning on to either San Francisco or Havana. So that's why we had that out there. And yeah.
I just saw it there a long time. I was just wondering, so that makes.
Throughout the school year, yeah, that's what we get complaints about, so that's where.
Okay, thank you.
And the public works guys did a great job of rebacking around there because.
Yeah, so you can see it.
Since we're talking about codes, we're just getting ready to do rules for the pickleball court and the tennis court. Okay, so that should be in the recreation ordinance added to it. Like, we have a whole host of rules for the lake that are on that ordinance, so that the chief can do something about it if they are breaking the law, correct? If they're on there,
We
they're not following.
we
okay.
addressed that, Mayor, with the catch-all.
The catch-all, 2026, we can say it's an unlawful act and,
Yep.
you know, based on it, so skateboarding, out there at the.
Fireworks,
time
anything.
limit and
Yep. Yeah.
anything like that, the 2026 will go ahead and address that. I mean, it'll be good for reference for the officers to say, okay, well, is this something that they should or can or cannot do, but 2026 be our catch-all. for-
Tell me the 2026 again.
226 is unlawful acts. That's the one that goes, has any, For example, a lot of residents will look up a noise ordinance.
Mhm.
That's not the noise ordinance that residents should be looking at.
Right.
Because you say says that if there's nuisance noises, it doesn't matter what time of day, you can call us and you can issue a complaint, we can get them warnings, the releasing of balloons, the loud exhaust, I forget, there's like A through O of what they'll call that, so that's kind of the catch-all for any kind of nuisance complaint, so it's called unlawful acts, and it's in our D code 360 at 202-6. So, and residents can look that up and see exactly what that is, and then, yeah.
Should times be included in that or no? Not the
So,
time for that, because it
no.
is different than the other parts.
Those are just rules.
Okay.
Rules can be separate from what the chief would be, the chief and the officers would be.
But with
imposing.
my experience at the lake for 17 years. You have to have it.
No, I know it's a
You have
a
to
little
have
bit
it
of a
in the
different
ordinance. You have to
animal.
have it in the
know.
ordinance. Or else
I know.
you're doomed.
But this year, try to standardize everything around the rest of the city, because the lake is very specific, especially for that time frame. It's easier to just be able to use one code for the things that, because it came from the chief. The chief recommended it. It was the best idea. It was the best idea,
Okay.
so.
Thanks, Gary. I appreciate
Yeah, I'll give you props. I'll give you props when you deserve it. No
Yeah.
problem.
You guys ready for some numbers?
Yes.
Okay. Jody's gonna give me a hard time because my report's so long. So we're just gonna do some numbers from May 22nd through today. We had 3 burglaries, 3 reports of fraud, 1 stolen motor vehicle, 9 thefts. We had 9 motor vehicle accidents, 7 pedestrian stops, 48 traffic stops, for a total of 49 summonses issued. We've had 10 arrests. In that time period, 12 business alarms, 2 residential alarms, 86 crime prevention activities, 9 domestics, 33 EMS incidents, 4 firearm deactivations, 23 follow-up calls, 393 coverage checks, and 10 public service. As the mayor mentioned, we did have the first graders come through. Sorry, guys, I didn't make Jack, I know you guys try to make it exciting, but they love the police cars. They
I got so jealous when I started hearing it from my window.
I said, we like some dogs.
No, I was jealous. I
That's
got
makes
very
Big Sell.
upset. I got very upset.
Dog glaze.
Because they weren't excited like that to beat me, and I'm a great guy.
So yeah, so you know, they got a tour and we talk about how our jail cells and the police, they're kind of like time out for adults, you know.
That's nice. That's
Well,
nice.
yeah, well, when you get kids saying, my dad's in jail, I'm like,
Oh.
oh, you don't follow the rules,
Oh,
well, I
well, that was
time
tough.
out, so it's kind of like
Tough.
time out for us. So yeah, so we did that, upcoming stuff, we did go over to field day for the Sprague School, which was a lot of fun for the kids. Upcoming graduations, like the mayor mentioned, we do have the community school graduation next week on Wednesday and Cedar Creek. It's 2025. On Thursday, I would like to again say, with the summer months coming up and kids not being in school, again, please be cognizant that they may not necessarily follow all of the traffic rules and regulations guarding out the streets, riding bikes the opposite ways. We have addressed some issues with some kids, and we will continue to do so throughout the summer as we're on patrol. Encouraging wearing helmets and following the rules of the roads and being good citizens. One of the things that we do with that is, Wawa has been kind enough, as they are each summer, I request coupon for free drinks or free pretzels, and when we see kids doing the right thing, we'll stop them and give them those so that they then have the opportunity. So it's positive interaction with the police and the kids, and hopefully encouraging them to tell their friends to do the right thing, maybe you'll get something great from Wawa.
I wear a helmet. I wear a helmet when I play.
Yeah.
So if you see me, I like the presents.
And it doesn't need to, but yeah, that's what we've got going on right now. We're coming into our busy months, the last few days of hot weather, we have been running. So yeah, that's where we're at. Any other questions for me? Debbie?
Jody's got the timer.
You're over here freezing. Please, that's fine.
The pollution watch.
All right, moving on.
Is it clip?
Let's see.
I thought it wasn't.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
no report?
No report.
No report. See, I knew you were gonna say that.
Yep.
City clerk,
I have nothing.
no report. City administrator.
Thank you. To update a couple of interested council members on the Crusaders Building, which is the Lloyd Winberg Memorial. It's a memorial. Right, he passed. Roll down gates, new indoor outdoor lighting, a new security door downstairs, new ceiling and paint for the second floor are all underway. We have contractors, DPW employees, and vendors getting ready to do that within the next 2 weeks. So it'll be a busy place where we try to rehab. It's a great little building, but in rough shape, real rough shape. So we'll be able to take care of that. DPW, I want to thank the council for the new staff. I want to welcome David Martinez, Joseph Maceo, and Riley Walcott to the team. DPW has completed all the mandatory training that was required, and we had all of the equipment that was not inspected last year inspected this year, and they all passed. So we're in good shape there. And if you haven't noticed, the mural was taken down. I want to thank Dario for helping us, but our staff was there to assist them. So that has been moved to an undisclosed location at DPW.
Is it in good shape?
Yeah.
It's in good shape. Yeah, it's in good shape. And we're put it somewhere where there's no activity for right now. So it's secure. Next week, staff and I at DPW will be working on the pavement assessment, looking at all the signs, seeing which signs are completely faded, trying to work on that. And I had a nice conversation with our CFO about a small budget amount, try to get these signs replaced, updated, including our street signs. So we'll create a process. Once I have that plan, I'll share it with the Public Works Committee. We did complete electrical upgrades in the senior center, mostly hazardous issues that we need to address. I think I was out there maybe even before I became full-time. So that's all been completed. And yesterday we offloaded about a third of a tractor trailer full of fitness court equipment, which is big, bulky, heavy, and it's a lot of equipment for that location. So it's going to be a great addition to that park. As far as our trees, as the city arborist, we're taking down 8 to 12 trees per week. And as Councilwoman Galloway mentioned, I am just polishing off and finishing up the tree planting bid for us to go out as soon as possible. 200 trees. So we have right now on our inventory assessment, we have 1,000 locations that could accept new trees. So that was done.
Some of them on New Orleans Avenue. Like
New Orleans a lot like-
Say,
yeah,
I
New Orleans,
was gonna say.
yeah. Why is New Orleans special? I don't know why. And so we'll make sure, what I'd like to do is maybe put something on the website to ask for community's input if they want a tree, maybe start with that and see how we do with that and then go from there. And focus on what Nanette was saying with the heat islands, because that's important as well. And then code. So I've been very active with code. DPW and code are almost one department because we work so well together. We're cleaning up properties, we're boarding up properties, and we're responding to issues and concerns, some that come from police, some that come from other residents as quickly as possible. So that staff is really changing the way they do things, and I'm pretty proud of that in a short period of time. So
That's good.
that's it.
I got a question real quick, Jared. I was at the field last night, but I didn't pay any mind to it. Did that tree come down? Did they finally come down?
On
Well,
that tree was scary.
yeah,
Which one?
I think it's.
It's on Buff. It was on Cincinnati. It was on this.
It's like right at the bike path there.
No, it's
right?
on the Buffalo. It's on Buffalo,
Buffalo.
right near where across the street from where the crossing guard stands.
Mhm. Yeah, the big white X on it. Yeah, it's right by the bike path.
Gone.
Yeah.
It Thursday or Friday last week.
Okay.
It's gone.
Is it where the picnic tables are?
Yes,
It's gonna be
Close.
yes.
sunny down there, yeah.
No, it's
They
not
all
gonna be
need to
sunny.
go.
There's still
Well,
It'll
water.
be sunny anyway, without the.
It was in bad shape. It was in bad shape. And it wasn't on the assessment because it was in the parks.
Mhm.
We didn't really tell them to start doing the parks.
I just wanted to clarify that it sounds like we're just taking down trees indiscriminately, but we're not. These trees were all identified as being at risk, high risk trees.
That are
that
stone
they
dead
either
or high
fall
tree.
Or
Yeah.
are already dead. Branches fall left and right, so.
I basically said if it was like real sunny in that area, maybe we should make it a point to replant something there.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, the trees that are there, take care of that.
Trees.
Yeah, no, it's not a,
Okay.
it's not, yeah,
That's what it's-
they need to-
That's a question on the signs. Are we looking to do the entry signs into town?
I don't have that, I was more focused on the street signs,
Okay.
because we have missing street signs, we have 7 different
Something we can
types of
work on.
street signs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to try to get to uniform
We
that,
were thinking, yeah, doing similar type signs
Yeah.
all over town.
similar type signs all over town, which I'll talk to the Public Works Committee. But also we have faded stop signs, faded directional signs, those things have to be upgraded, because you can't see them at night if they don't have the reflectivity.
That shows up on the report there.
It does show up on his report, yeah. The Ryan report.
So that's worth.
I don't know how to say Violet,
Violets.
Violytics, I don't know how to say it, so I just call it the Ryan report.
So it's working really well, that Ryan report?
So I just shared it with the
Yeah.
Public Works Committee, so they were playing with it. Yeah,
Every stop sign in town.
That's
Wow.
pretty neat.
yeah,
Yeah.
I just,
You can zoom in
Yeah,
and see
sure.
pictures.
yeah, we'll give you access to it, great.
Yep. Yeah, especially if it's sticker on it, it's there.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Joe. Thank you. Okay, city attorney,
No updates.
no report. Okay. Engineer,
Yeah, I got a lot, we'll be quick.
I don't see a,
Just quick update.
I don't see a paper.
Yeah, I didn't print it. I have it in front of me. I'll email it to you.
All right.
Okay, Archway Green, moving right along. They're doing well. Weisbecker, Denver, we're supposed to have a meeting today at 10, little miscommunication with contractors. We're gonna meet them on Monday. To walk the site and go over everything, and then coordinate. I actually ran into Dave Maxwell today. So, I told him we would let him know when we're gonna be on site, so we can walk it with him as well and talk about the timing and, make sure we're not getting the schedule twice. Buffalo Avenue, we're just waiting for PNC to get approved, so we got the bid. The Lake and Campground, ADA improvements, we finally got a letter back from Pinelands, so. It wasn't a glowing review, but it was mostly about, a violation that occurred on the other side of the lake. So I think we can work through that, but some of the other comments were just ambiguous. So, we really need to schedule a meeting with them to go over this, and some of the stuff at Key Rec and some other things.
So what is this regarding? I'm sorry.
The
What is,
ADA improvements out at the lake and camp.
oh, okay, thanks.
It's the parking lot across from,
Yeah, we're
Don't
trying to put
stop.
some ADA parking stalls and like the rollout beach ADA type mats so that there'd be ADA access around the south side or southeast side of the lake and to the restroom and to the concession stand and all that stuff. So there's some things that we're gonna need to work through. Essentially, we need to meet with them and say like, look, we're trying to provide ADA access to the lake. Are you gonna let us or not? That's the level of it. So we'll see how that goes.
Is there a different kind of, I don't know, whatever that is that you put on the ground that you roll out?
Yeah, so
Is there
that's,
different
there's multiple manufacturers
permeable?
for that, and they had questions about like the permeability rate and things like that, and I was trying to explain like. These are H mats, they don't have permeability testing, like I can bring you a sample, and we can pour buckets of water through it immediately. So,
Yeah,
yeah, we roll all over everywhere, but yeah, they're perfect, sure. So,
I don't have Pinelands at the beach.
yeah.
can buy them.
Yeah, that's the rest of the parkway. Anyway, so yeah, I have some sample materials we can bring up there and demonstrate, look, this is what we're trying to do. We're not gonna disturb it at all. We're just gonna lay this on top of it and. You know, we selected areas that are no more than 2% cross slopes, everything will be compliant. So we'll see how it goes, but it's gonna require, they clearly didn't get what we were.
you're surprised then.
Not at all. I'm frankly, I'm surprised it took 6 months to get a response. That's a first.
That is, yeah.
So that is the longest they have ever taken to get back on a single issue.
I'd like to be on that meeting. as
What's that?
well.
Yeah, that's gonna have to be front and center on our meeting to say like, look, we're trying to provide amenities and make, you know. Keep environmental considerations at the top of our list here, but. You know, one of the comments is essentially like, you can't add any impervious cover within 300 feet of the lake. Okay, so where are the people who have wheelchairs supposed to park? I mean, make them park, you know, 300, 400 feet away, and then how are they supposed to get there and provide more of a path to get there? So, yeah, like I said, it's issues to work through.
What type of grant was that?
It's DCA, Small Cities Fund.
Small cities?
Yeah, so it's ADA access to community facilities. That's the funding that we got for City Hall.
which is actually the next one of those. That's the funding we just got for the seniors. So. Yeah, I think we have a very strong argument to make about public access, ADA access. These are effectively a linear development because there's no other way to provide access to the lake for people with disabilities except to provide a path that's ADA compliant that goes within 300 feet of the lake, right?
I don't think a state agency can restrict or infringe on federal law either, right? Because you have ADA, which is federal law. State agency can't tell you that if you're required to do it under federal law, a state agency can't say no.
Right, so if we're providing ADA access and providing as much environmental consideration as is feasible, what else are we supposed to do? So, but again, all arguments to have a meeting first.
And DCA approved the funding, right?
Correct. Yeah, exactly. So I think we have very strong cases to make, but they're clearly not gonna take them from us, right? So just gotta. Northern Avenue subdivision, we got notice that it was approved a while ago, but I still don't have the resolution, so I'm trying to track down a copy of that. Once that's done, we'll be able to set property corners, file subdivision, and presumably auction that. Probably the city would like to pursue lots. The IBank stormwater project, I know we haven't talked about that in a little bit.
Which one?
The IBank stormwater, that was the $3 million in principal forgiveness that the city was eligible for. They kind of backburnered us on the 2025 funding and made it impossible for us to continue to get FY 2025 funds. So now we're pursuing FY 2026 funds. We're trying to set up bonding. It's technically you have to borrow it and then close on the loan and then they forgive it. It's kind of a weird configuration, but we'll work with your bond counsel now to work through that process. And get that all set up.
That's been like that. That's always been, I think.
Yeah.
That process
Well,
has always been.
Yeah, but the principal forgiveness thing was kind of new, but
Only-
rather than like give a grant, you take the same loan you always
Right.
did and now they forgive it.
If they feel like.
Well,
Right.
yes, you can get it locked in as long as you do it.
That's the project we're starting on Aragon, right?
So it was mostly Beethoven, but there was a 2 or 3 block stretch on Arago as well. Yeah, it's replacing a bunch of old storm drains. You still have some of the city style inlets, which are over like in here in Philadelphia. That are just a giant mouth opening in the curb, which is not compliant. So it's replacing a bunch of them, a bunch of storm pipes, which we've been having sinkholes and issues with. It's all stuff that was installed in the 20s and 30s. So yeah, and there's hardly ever funding opportunities for stuff like that. So it's nice, be a big boost for the city. Key rec improvements, I touched on that. Really, we just need to, it hinges on meeting with the clients on what they're gonna let us do and how far they're gonna make us go to cure prior violations. Tennis pickleball courts, that seems to be going well. I actually talked to somebody today, just randomly, coincidentally, and we're talking about how they've been over there and their courts have been full. Their observations said, oh, I never saw anyone playing tennis, but the pickleball courts are like full all the time. So,
Mostly Egg Harbor people or people from Linwood?
this was someone that lived in Egg Harbor City that I was talking to, so.
It wasn't me, because I was out there.
It wasn't, but you probably know who it is. The Brownfield redevelopment areas, we had that kickoff meeting. We're working right now on a proposal for the HDSRF investigation work. We expect that we will move forward pretty much immediately out of the industrial park. There might be slight delays on the gateway side, just because we're gonna have to get site access because they're privately owned. But we're working through that. She should have a proposal for that from us on that shortly. The master plan re-exam, we shared a draft of that report with the administrator. We're working through, finally picking that back up. So we can advance that. You guys touched on the redevelopment plan in your report, extending that and making some updates. And then the last thing I think I have, the last 2 things would be state aid application for FY 26 municipal aid funds. I think for this meeting, we have one municipal aid because we are definitely doing that. We're also suggesting that we apply for Safe Streets Transit and we will, a lot of the recommendations that are in your city school travel plan, which we just got a couple months ago, are within a half mile of a bus stop or train stop. So even though they're identified on the school travel plan and more for school than for the transit network, they're eligible for Safe Streets Transit funds. And they've been given a lot of Safe Streets Transit money, so we're recommending the city to apply for that funding, but we can do that resolution at the next meeting. So that's not critical for this one. The last thing is the proposal for the design of the FY 2025 municipal aid funds. We applied for D Street from Bremen to Baltimore, and Camp Street from Bremen to approximately Antwerp. But we only got less than half the money we asked for, so we're recommending we reduce the scope to just do DC Route Street from Bergen to Baltimore. And we apply for this year for that 26 money for Camp Street from Bergen towards about April. So that's the two things on the agenda. And yeah, me, unless somebody has any questions.
Yeah, I was disappointed to see that we have to split that grant into 2 years. Because Burger Street is a mess.
Camp Street.
No, Burger Street.
Well, I
From
mean,
like St. Louis to Philadelphia Avenue. I mean, the road is just chewed up and I see the guys who are out there, they must have put some asphalt down in certain areas, but it's bad. And I don't think that can wait for 3 years.
Well, I mean, some of this,
we could apply this year for both sections. With a section of Camp from Bremen into about Antwerp and for that section of Bergen, that can be. We probably won't
What's
get as
up
much as
with
we
that?
asked for, but it'll give us the opportunity. Well, yeah, I mean, we can pick. A couple of them, I suppose.
Well, they. different
let's
linear
see.
feet, I guess, how they measure.
It looks like, I mean, I'm looking at the Violetix right now. It looks like the worst section of Berger. Goes from
I know exactly.
Buffalo to Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, that comes up the worst thing on the Violetix out there.
And that's what this program,
300-foot stretch.
that program that we were talking about before, that we just looked at, and it's got all that information in it.
Yeah.
And the DPW, not to take away from Councilman Dovey, but the plan is to put a road program together, not just do a couple streets a
Right.
year, but we need a program
Yeah.
where we're gonna address the worst ones and we're gonna have to spend some money. So,
So
But yeah, I mean,
do you just enter into the program like streets or something like that, the worst streets? How do you find out?
Oh, the
worst
Violetix
street?
software?
Yes,
So you actually drive it, it's really just an iPhone mounted on the dashboard. But you
I mean,
drive-
looking at it now.
Oh,
I'm
so
sorry.
it's color coded. It literally, green is good and red and actually
Oh.
gray is the worst one. That's why I can tell immediately.
I can give you that.
I can see it and I just zoomed right in. This is the worst block of Burger Street because that's what the ratings are.
Okay.
So I knew immediately and like, this is the stretch of Camp Street we've been talking about and it's like a deep shade of red.
Mhm.
So I mean, visually, you can tell immediately, like, here's the worst streets in town.
Camp is like,
And is it different shades of it so you can compare
Yeah,
one
and-
street to another?
And as you, yeah, each one has a comparable rating and as you zoom in,
Okay.
each individual photograph has a rating. So like,
Okay.
this one's 38 and if I come over here, like it's in better shape, so it's a 90. So,
Oh, okay.
you know, it gives you like a broader rating of the whole road, but there's individual spots along.
did that program automatically take the pictures or did you have to hit it every time?
No, it's essentially shooting a video and then
Oh, it's-
breaking it up. So every 25 feet, it takes a still image.
Okay.
And then it evaluates, there's an AI processing tool that they have put together, that's really their thing. That identifies pavement distress signs, based on the visual. And then, like I said, it identifies all of your signs, it can tell you whether they're dirty, whether they have stickers on them, whether they're obstructed by branches. So, it does all of that automatically, we just drove it and it spits all of this information.
Excuse me.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful tool.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else, Ron?
Nope.
Please email me that.
Yes, will do.
Everybody else.
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah,
say,
I
like,
literally, as I got in my car, I was like, oh, I didn't print it and I don't have time.
Is that something that he could send to you to include with the
The
agenda?
agenda, yeah, it'll be 2 days behind, but yeah, I can do that.
Okay,
When I send it out, Brian, do you have anything?
Yes, I'll respond with the.
okay, thank
Gotta
you.
do it on time.
All right, number 14 on our agenda is a resolution authorizing the hire of an entry-level law enforcement officer pursuant to NJSA 11A colon 4-1.3.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Question on the motion? Roll call, please.
Clark,
Yes.
Dovey,
yes,
Galloway,
Yes.
Heist,
Yes.
Hesse,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes,
Timbers.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
resolution passes. Number 15 on the agenda is authorize a shared service agreement by and between the city of Egg Harbor and the town of Hamilton relative to the service of grant project administrator. Is there a motion?
Good.
I'll make the motion.
With Jerry?
Yes.
Dovey made a motion.
And how is this gonna be split up?
Wait, give us
I'm sorry.
I got a question, Joe.
After we finish the motion, I can answer all the questions.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's fine.
So we got a motion from Mr. Dovey, is there a second?
I'll second it, and I got a question.
Okay. All right.
Well,
Second,
not really a question, I just want to verify. Egg Harbor City is the number one priority, so basically if Egg Harbor City, something happens, you're here before that.
My Mason, my paycheck comes from Egg Harbor.
I know, I'm just making sure, I so everybody knows.
And Hamilton has to pay Jody.
Yeah, exactly, I just want to make sure, so it's all
gotta
out.
make sure that,
Yeah.
So speaking of paying Jody, what is the amount?
20,000 for this year, for July to December 31st, 42,000 for next year. Based on their new council resolution at reorganization or the first meeting of January.
And how many hours?
It would be
Day.
9 to 4:30. 1 day a week. And I would be here that day in the morning to make sure Public Works is set up. And then shoot over to Town Hall, Central Avenue.
in any emergencies, we still have access. So,
So it'll be a midweek day. It'll fluctuate which midweek day. It'll never be a Monday or a Friday. It'll always be a midweek day. Mondays are no good and Fridays are worse. So.
That's all the questions I had.
okay, but roll call, please.
Clark? Clark,
Yes.
Joby,
Yes,
Galloway,
Yes.
Heist, Hesse,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes,
Timbers.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Resolution passes.
Could I just ask one other thing? Will you still be in there with code on Wednesdays, having your meetings?
Yep.
Great.
Okay. That's an 8:30 meeting.
Okay, number 16. Resolution directing the Egg Harbor City Land Use Board to conduct a preliminary investigation to determine whether certain areas and properties identified as the Egg Harbor North Rehabilitation Area is an area in need of redevelopment as defined in NJSA 48:12-5 without the power of eminent domain, which is non-condemnation, condemnation redevelopment area. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Questions on the motion?
Yeah, I had a question.
Yeah.
Why is this being done without the eminent domain?
Um,
I get,
you wanna go?
yeah, because the city owns most of the property out there anyway, and then the other properties that the city doesn't own. Are currently going through tax lien foreclosure.
Well, wouldn't the having the eminent domain speed that up a little bit?
Not necessarily. I think where we are in the process, we're far enough along with the liens that it should move faster. And quite frankly, you know, the city doesn't have to pay if they go through that process. They don't have to pay for the fair market value of the property.
Originally, we thought it would have been faster doing that, but
We can come back. It's something we can always come back and amend later on, and for whatever reason. The liens take too long and the city has the ability to fund the purchase of those properties. You're still gonna have to go through and pay for all the properties. The other thing to note is the way that this development is being set up, it's gonna be set up in a number of phases. And the city's compiled enough property for far more than they need for phase one. So that gives the city enough lead time to go through the lien process and acquire title to the other properties without having to go out to bond to pay for the other properties through eminent domain.
Thank you.
any other questions? Roll call, please.
Clark,
Yes.
Joby,
Yes,
Galloway,
Yes.
Heist,
Yes.
Hesse,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes,
Timbers.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
resolution passes. Number 17, you asked to table that. Jody,
Yes.
is there a motion to table?
I'm making a motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. We could just do all in favor of that, right?
Yep.
Yes, all in favor,
aye,
opposed? Resolution passes for table. Number 18, resolution authorize the award of a non-fair and open contract for the National Fitness Court equipment. Is there a motion?
I'll second. That's for across the street, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A motion made and seconded. Questions on the motion? Roll call.
Clark,
Yes.
Joby,
yes,
Galloway,
Yes.
Heist.
Yes.
Hesse,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes.
Timbers,
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Number 19, authorize Remington and Burnick engineers to provide professional services associated with the FY 25 NJDOT municipal aid grant for the reconstruction of Easterwig Street from Bremen to Baltimore Avenues.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Questions? Roll call.
Clark,
Yes.
Joby,
yes,
Galloway,
Yes.
Heist,
Yes.
Hesse,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes.
Timbers.
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Number 20, resolution authorizing Remington and Burnick to submit the FY 26 DOT municipal aid application for the reconstruction of Camp Street from Bremen to approximately Antwerp Avenue.
Do we want to amend this one to include Burger Street from Cincinnati to Buffalo as well? It's not
Go ahead.
hurt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Add.
Send one to me.
Yep.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion. Second.
Motion made and seconded. Questions? Roll call, please.
Clark,
Yes.
Joby,
yes,
Galloway,
Yes.
Heist,
Yes.
Hesse,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes.
Timbers.
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Number 21, resolution authorizing the permit fee for the installation of a heater and hot water heater at the Moravian Church parsonage to be waived.
I'll make a motion.
Motion,
Second.
motion made and seconded. Questions? Roll call, please.
Clark,
Yes.
Joby,
yes,
Galloway,
Yes.
Heist,
The Cruz being an active member of the church.
Hesse,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes.
Timbers.
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Number 22, acknowledge and approve the completion and submittal of an application for NJEDA for the award of an HD SRF grant in the, lot of, in the amount of $169,139.80 for site remediation on the Moss Mill Road land.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
A motion made second. Is there questions on this?
I have a question.
Joby.
Mike,
Questions?
I have a question regarding, in the resolution where it said, whereas the city is committed to the redevelopment by redeveloper Jonathan Scher within 3 years after the completion of the project site. Does this mean that we are, basically, he will be our only redeveloper? Like, for the year, for quite a while now, we've been going from April to October, October to April. Now we're gonna go forever. Does he have as much time as ever? As he wants?
More time.
Yeah,
Or
so-
what? How much is more time?
Well, the city granted him a year extension this April.
Yeah.
So that's under the redevelopment. He doesn't necessarily need to be the one to do the redevelopment. If something, if the bottom falls out of his project, city could proceed with another redeveloper and go through that process. This is a requirement for funding. You have to make a commitment to DP that you're going to pursue and engage in a redevelopment project within the next 3 years. So whether Jonathan sticks with the project or not, which very much seems to be will. The city will continue to pursue redevelopment of the site with the 10+ years. So.
Even though it says with him, does it not say with him?
With him or whatever.
It says with him.
Because it was kind of like the project.
Yeah, I mean, you could strike that language if I would rather, but.
I would feel more comfortable. If
Is
it's
that a
not just
problem
with
to
him.
change it here in this?
I don't
We
have
have
to
to
amend
make
the
it stop.
resolution. I mean, you can amend the resolution now if you want.
Yeah, you just.
say the
You have
same,
it.
will, where do you have commit to this? It's Fred now, I think.
So you want to strike in coordination with redeveloper.
Yeah.
Just the last one.
Strike that phrase.
Whereas.
I'll make that
Yeah,
motion.
yeah,
By redeveloper.
Specifically named who they're developing.
Right. I don't want to be committed.
So who made the motion? Do you want to amend it?
I have Galloway.
So
Yeah,
Council-
well,
you still
We
need the
gotta-
part about being committed to the redevelopment.
Yes,
but
cannot
taking
strike
out
both.
the, just
Take out
taking
John.
out John.
So needed.
I just wanted the whereas.
So Councilwoman Clark and Galloway, would you agree to the amendment?
Yes.
Yes.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Clark,
Yes.
Joby,
Yes.
Galloway.
Yes.
Heist,
Yes.
Hesse,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes.
Timbers.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Number 23, resolution to renew liquor licenses. July 1st, 2025 through June 30th of 2026. Plenary retail consumption for the Inn of St. Louis. Not going to read the license. Gennaro's Italian Grill, Harbor Diner, Crossroads, Firehouse Bar and Grill, Hammy's Bar and Grill, MRM LLC Pocket License, and 1400 Whitehorse Pike LLC Pocket License.
We
I'll
only
make
have
the motion.
2 pocket licenses.
On
Well,
here
right
now.
now.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Questions? Roll call, please.
We don't need one.
No, you don't.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Okay, number 24, resolution to refund property taxes due to overpayment.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Clark,
Yes.
Joby,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes.
Heist,
Yes.
Hesse,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes.
Timbers.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Number 25.
Hmm.
Resolution support from Lake Harbor City Common Council authorizing the Sustainable Communities Grant application funded by Atlantic City Electric.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Questions on the motion? Roll call.
Clark,
Yes.
Joby,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes.
Heist,
Yes.
Hesse,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes.
Timbers.
Yes.
Right.
Resolution passes. Number 26, authorize memorandum of understanding between the city of Egg Harbor and Cape Atlantic Soil Conservation District regarding the delivery of Heat Island Assessment Report. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second, questions?
I have a question. I just wanted to know, we're not obligated to do anything with this information. We're just basically doing a study. Is that what it is? Thank you.
Sure. Cost,
No.
no cost.
No cost. They're doing it.
Roll call, please.
Clark,
Yes.
Joby,
Recuse.
Galloway,
Yes.
Heist,
Yes.
Hesse,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes.
Timbers.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Number 27, introduce ordinance number 11. Creating chapter 1711-2025, creating chapter 179 dumpster permit fee guidelines in the code of the city of Egg Harbor, advertised on. Well, we have to do ordinance first.
Intro.
Yes. Is there a motion?
I make a motion. Second.
Motion made and seconded.
Question, what's the dumpster fees?
The fees?
It's $50.
It's 50. It's 100 if they fail to obtain a permit.
It's in it. Oh, is it?
It's in you. It's in you.
And this was all modified.
I didn't
based
know
on
it
our
was
last Meeting
Yeah,
conversation.
and specifically with what Mason asked for.
Mark and all that.
Yep.
Just keep redoing it, yeah. all that.
Okay, roll call please.
Need a roll call?
Okay.
Just,
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Resolution or introduction passes, notice of adoption or introduction in the Hamilton Gazette on June 18th, 2025 for a public hearing on
yep, you can do that on one.
June
motion.
26th. Okay, so it's all,
You have a motion?
yes, is there a motion?
I make a motion.
Second.
Second, motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Number 28 is the one we're going to
It's,
table.
it's rescheduled.
Reschedule.
Already
It's
rescheduled.
not tabled,
Okay.
rescheduled.
Number 29. Public hearing on ordinance number 8. 2025 for the 2025 salary ordinance amendment. Is there a motion to hold a public hearing?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion made second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The public hearing is open. For the 2025 salary ordinance amendment. So you just want to give a quick synopsis?
What number?
Number 8, ordinance number
You
8.
should have done it to the public. You should close the public attention.
Okay. Anybody wish to be heard on this
Mhm.
ordinance?
I'll make a motion to close.
Motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made, seconded to close public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now last.
Just make sure all the salaries set by either contract or by resolution fit within what the actual range. The ordinance just has ranges in it, and then the contract or
There's no
the salary
specific-
resolution are what's very specific, so it just makes sure that all those salaries fit within these ranges. So we have a new police contract this year, so this is just making sure that, and I think adding in the administrator as well.
Okay, good. Is there a motion to adopt?
Motion.
I'll second it.
Motion made, seconded. Roll call, please.
Clark,
Yes.
Dovey,
Yes,
Galloway,
Yes.
Heist,
Yes.
Hesse,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes.
Timbers.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Motion for advertising notice of adoption in the Hamilton Gazette on June 18th.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, number 30. Public hearing on ordinance number 9 of 2025. For chapter 230, solid waste, replacing and repealing article 3. 230-16 to 230-24. Motion to hold a public hearing.
I make a second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
aye,
First. Public hearings open on ordinance number 9. Any questions from the audience? Second call. Motion to close.
Make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
aye,
Public hearing closed. Is there a motion to adopt?
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to adopt. Roll call, please.
Clark,
Yes.
Dovey,
yes,
Galloway,
Yes.
Heist,
Yes.
Hesse,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes.
Timbers. Right.
Yes.
Adoption passes. Motion to advertise notice of adoption in the Hamilton Gazette.
Make a
on June
motion.
18th.
Second.
Motion made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 31. Bill list.
I'll make a
Bill.
motion.
Second.
Motion made, second. Roll call, please.
Clark,
Yes.
Dovey,
yes,
Galloway,
Yes.
Heist,
Yes.
Hesse,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes.
Timbers.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Number 32, comments, Matt?
Just congratulations to all our local graduates and special thanks to New Jersey American Water, who really put on a nice program or event on Saturday. It was very, like I said, very well attended, and it was done first class. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Wright?
Just a couple of things. Football camp starts in 2 weeks, the 24th of June. We'll be out there Tuesdays for the last month of June and all of July, and then 5 nights a week when August hits. Yes. So, but with the tennis courts and pickleball, I've been out there for 20 years. I haven't seen nobody use those courts until yesterday. That place was mobbed yesterday. I was very impressed that it was actually being used for tennis instead of rollerblading or skateboarding or anything else. So I was kind of nice to see people be actually using it. So it was pretty nice. And the other thing I have, I just want to give a big thank you to his family and the Pabst family for selecting my daughter tonight to receive the Gavin's Award. You don't know how much that means to her, especially, and to our family. And I'm just greatly appreciate it. And thank,
Everybody's.
yeah. And that's it.
Councilwoman Galloway.
I just wanted to congratulate Councilwoman Hesse and the ordinance committee for passing the trash ordinance tonight. We worked on that for months, and it was
Yes, we
was
did.
quite a challenge to get that in writing, so.
Congratulations. Other than that, I don't have anything.
Thank you.
Everyone's still sane after that?
Councilwoman Hesse.
I'll go on the record that I have not flipped any tables. Despite the threats.
That's surprising, right? Well, I endured a lot. What I have to say is, I'm also very happy that the pickleball courts and tennis courts are in place now. It's wonderful that they're open. I just love, I've been out there numerous times already. And, for me, I think there's a couple of things I'd like to just send out there since I am a pickleball player, not that I'm a great pickleball player, I'll say that. I just want to say, yes, just want to say, for safety purposes, if a ball goes in another court, please call ball. There's so many ankles that have been twisted, not by doing that, and just use courtesy out there. It's a wonderful game, and I think everybody should give it a try. It's great. And thank you, everybody, for pushing for it. Mayor, it's wonderful. They also have this free app, if anybody wants to use it, called Team Reach. It kind of gets everybody together. So, and other than that, I just wanted to say Happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. Have a good weekend. That's it.
Thank you. Councilman Dovey, comments?
I have no comments. Thank you.
Councilwoman Clark? Comments?
Congratulations to the class of 2025. Also, happy Father's Day to all of the fellow councilmen up there, as well as, the fathers in Egg Harbor City, and my husband that's currently staring at me. Also, the Crusaders, we are having our first fundraiser going on right now. We have partnered with Rutgers University in New Brunswick, where the Rutgers football team has, they will be hosting a Crusaders Day on Thursday, August 28th, where our Crusaders have been invited to participate in the pre-game pep rally. It's going to be the season opener for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. That's going to happen on Thursday, August 28th at 6 p.m. in New Brunswick at Shai Stadium. Tickets are $15, but with fees, it's like $18, and $5 of each of those ticket sales goes directly to the Crusaders. So we're hoping to have everyone come out and support, even if they just buy a ticket, it goes to a good cause for our kids. And that's all.
Thank you.
I just want to add to that too. Those that don't know, the Meltons are also holding a camp up in Rutgers, a free camp for all kids. As everybody knows, Egg Harbor City two kids that made it to the NFL, that, one playing for Green Bay and one playing for Arizona. So they're doing a big camp over Rutgers for the kids also too, so.
Nice. Thank you. Councilwoman Hurst.
Just want to say happy Father's Day to all the dads, especially my husband and my dad in heaven. He was the best dad there was.
Councilman Timbers.
I just want to be the first one to say, yell ball. But other than that.
Joe, I might say one thing. Meg, Chief and I, we attended a stigma-free breakfast last, was it last week, Chief? I don't know. It feels like a long time ago, but it really wasn't. So the chief got in.
It's in May, actually.
So it is on Facebook with her holding her award. She got an award for, being very cognizant of, people's needs and things like that, and how our police handle issues. So congratulations to you.
Congratulations. For me, I would say happy Father's Day and happy graduation to all the graduates. But I was talking to an avid tennis player, and he told me real tennis players do not play pickleball.
True. Agassi, he's played. There's many of them now. Yes.
Well,
Of them.
this guy's questionable anyway.
Yeah, you can play.
open it up for public comments. Anybody have any comments? Please come forward and state your name and address.
On the front door, yeah. For our mailings. It's not, she give me wrong.
Hi, good evening. My name's Dana Seaver. I live on the 100 block of Boston Avenue. Been a proud member of East Oklahoma City for taxpayer for 15 years. My husband's here 40+ years. Raised my kids here, so I am very proud of the town that I live in. But there has been some concern, and it's my first time being here to raise a concern of all the years. I typically promote all the positivity that goes on our town, and you know, I always want to encourage people to come here. So just know that this comes from a place of just deep concern, because I know we talk about all the things that we want to do to make our town better. In order to do that, you need the people here, and to have people here, one of the things that needs to happen is it needs to feel like a safe place. So this is, you know, where my concern comes from, especially huge advocate for our police officers and huge respect for our police and fire. So again, just know that this comes from a concern. And I'm speaking on behalf of my mother, who just moved here about a year ago. She lives in Brinkford Manor Apartments. And so I am speaking on her behalf, just to sort of, you know, kind of put the issue out there, sort of leaving all the emotion out of it, just to kind of get right down to the nitty-gritty. I'm speaking on behalf of my family and many others in the community who are alarmed by the growing number of loose dogs roaming our streets. This isn't just a minor inconvenience. I believe that this has become a public safety crisis. And so that's why I'm here. There have been many loose dogs being seen. It seems like it's just growing and becoming worse lately. Last month, first I was personally attacked with my dog by a pit bull on the 200 block of the 11th Terrace. The worst that happened at that point was I just had some rope burn from the leash, but nonetheless, that was, you know, that occurred. Last month, my mother and her dog Romeo were attacked by a loose pit bull. It was terrifying. 2 good Samaritans intervened and helped, but I want to be clear about a few things. Unlike what was reported in the original report, it was not the dog owner that helped. It was 2 citizens that were in the car that happened to witness the attack. The report originally said that it was the owner that assisted in that, and that is not true. Unfortunately, that was not the only inaccuracy in the report. And by the way, I want to say with regards to the report, I want to thank Mayor Lisa and Chief, because they sort of helped speed up the process, because just getting the report was really difficult for my mother to get. I personally spoke to the officer who was supposed to write the report. He told me 7 to 10 days. She had to go there 3 times, still no report. And this happened back on May 15th, I believe. And the answer that was given was that the officer was not available. So, you know, why does the officer have to be present for her to get a report that should have already been written? Just, again, these are just concerns. But those were not the only inaccuracies in the report. The color and type of dog was incorrect. And the witness one of the witnesses that helped intervene posted in detail on Facebook sort of everything that I'm saying that goes against what the report says. So this is from the my mother as well as the witness that stated that, you know, these were inaccurate. So the type of dog was inaccurate, the color of the dog was inaccurate. My mother's address that was written on the report was inaccurate, it was the wrong address. As I mentioned, the name that was listed as a witness on the original report was not even a person that was there. They mentioned the wife's name, the wife was not present, it was the actual husband that was there. So there was a name listed in the report that was not even present at the scene or that helped. And then additionally, the witness mentioned that when they went up to the officer to say, hey, do you want my information? You want to take my information? The officer told them no. And, you know, what we're left asking with just regards to the report is, you know, what kind of accountability and accuracy can we expect from those, you know, who are there to help protect us? And again, this is not a dig. I have a huge respect for police enforcement, but a lot of inaccuracies in the report. The report mentions that, you know, the person who's responsible is going to pay for the cost of the vet bill, which is really what ultimately my mother wants. But the problem is they won't give my mother any of the information on how to go about pursuing this. And this, again, isn't an isolated event. I know of a friend whose, all her chickens were killed last night, and this is the second time that a dog got loose and killed all of their chickens. My mother's neighbor, who she lives next door to, her sister was just attacked on Buffalo Avenue by a German Shepherd who had to be flown to Cooper because of the dog attack. I know a dog last year who was killed and mauled by a dog. So this is a growing problem. So I want to ask the council. And I'm just putting all of the questions out there. Are we afraid to enforce laws? And if so, why? We need real answers and a plan of action. Specifically, what are the legal requirements to own a dog in Egg Harbor City? Are the owners required to register their pets? Which I know the answer to that because my mother did register her dog because we were told it was required. Are they required to keep them on leash? Must the owners have a fenced-in yard? And how are the laws being enforced? Are there consequences for the place? What are the consequences that are in place for the owners whose dogs attack, injure, or kill other animals, or God forbid, people? I want to know why it's such a difficult process for her to get a gentleman who is responsible for their dog owner to pay the vet bills. They have the person's name on the report. But then is she supposed to do with that information if she doesn't know how to get a hold of him? It says in here in the report. He advised that Pax is current with all his vaccinations, although there was no proof of that. He didn't provide any of his up-to-date vaccinations. It was just verbal. And says, we'll make arrangements with Deborah for any veterinary costs for his injuries to Romeo. How? How are they gonna do that? They say that she has to take him to civil court. Don't know how we're supposed to do that if we don't have his information. So I think we want to know a step-by-step process when something like this happens. She just wants the bills to be paid for. And also wants harsher punishments for people who are irresponsible pet owners. We are asking the council to take immediate action and transparent action to correct these failures. And enforce existing laws and provide real resolutions before someone else or someone's child, God forbid, ends up hurt or worse. I walk around with my kids all the time, and I have found myself becoming doing that less and less because of the concern for the dogs. She pepper sprayed the dog, it didn't do anything. So I feel like this is something that should be sort of on a priority list, because I feel like unless it happens to you, sometimes people don't think it's, important enough to be sort of put up on the priority list. But you don't want it to happen to you. So I'm just putting it out there. I do feel like that there are answers, we do need to have answers to those questions. I know that we are short-staffed with police officers and they're drawn thin. They're everywhere. I've been in this community a long time. I see them everywhere. So I just think it's important that, we address it because, like I said, God forbid, a child, so you want to see kids running around, want to see them on bikes and playing, but it is a concern.
Dana, I agree with you 100%. We need to do something about this. This isn't the first time. It happened to me as well. And it happened to me a couple of years ago, and I said the same thing. What if it was a child? The dog had me pinned. I had nowhere to go. And it was just growling at me. And same sort of situation happened to me. So we do need to take action here. This is not, and I've heard numerous times, other times. So, Chief, could you tell me, is there something that the officers can do differently? Because we need to enforce this. We need to enforce this.
Few different things. I like the report. So in terms of getting the reports, I'm sorry, I wish you would come to me with these concerns because a lot of the stuff council can't answer and I can answer all these questions for you, but here we are. So regarding the report and the payment for everything. I don't know whether it was explained to you, but I
I
talked to the mayor, and I'm sorry if the information was not relayed correctly, or whether there was any misinterpretation on the officer's part, on their part. What happens is, we asked for the vet bills, so that way we can attach them to the actual report, because he was cited, issued a dog at large and an unregistered dog. So with that, it goes to the court. At that point in time, the judge will see what the damages are for Romeo's vet bills or anything like that. He can, if he chooses to do so, make that part of the reparation as part of whatever he's doing. So that's where that is. At that point in time, if he doesn't do anything, that unfortunately you would have to take into civil court for that. And at that point in time, you could get all the relevant information from the court. When we give you information, we do have to redact certain information initially. So that's why the report is the way that it is. So I hope that clarifies everything. The owner of that dog is not from this town. He was cited, he was not cited for unregistered because he's not a resident here of the town. He was cited for dog at large. Regarding the chickens last night, unfortunately, in Egg Harbor City Code, chickens do not count as a domestic animal. So a dog attacks another animal, domesticated animal or livestock. Unfortunately, poultry does not fall under that in the Egg Harbor City Code. At that point in time, we get code enforcement involved, and they will then make a determination as to whether to declare it a vicious dog or not. In the code, there is something to dictate that if a dog is declared vicious by the court, that there are certain stipulations that dog owners need to comply with, specifically fencing, double fencing, signage. So all of that is in the code. Unfortunately, we are tied by our code, and we can't issue citations above anything like that. One thing I would recommend is that we need to confirm with the court, because there are specific dogs that do get loose over and over again. We cite them every time. I need to follow up and find out exactly whether or not they're still being fined the $250, whatever, or if there's any progressive action like that. And at that point in time, even if the dog is not deemed vicious, if the dog keeps escaping, then perhaps there's something that there needs to be enacted in code that says your dog is getting out XYZ amount of times, you need to do XYZ. That's not up to me, but those are recommendations that I can make, and that's something that the council has. Regarding the report, I'm not gonna make excuses for that officer. I don't know what happened, what was there, so I'm glad that you looked at the report. I believe that the sergeant did an addendum to the report, making the corrections that you indicated. So, that's something that we will have to discuss, but review with that officer. But the blatant mistakes, the wrong address, the wrong name, anything like that, that's unacceptable, and that's something that will be handled, so, thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Chief, mine also didn't have an address on it. I don't know where that woman lived at. No idea. I still have the paperwork, if you want to see it.
I don't think.
And I will have it for a while.
But yeah, so go through any other questions, because you put out a lot, so I don't know if I answered most of it. Yeah, and.
No, I thank you. Thank you. I hope I remember everything and explained you very well. So my concern is like my fear factor after that happened, that incident happened, I carry a bat, I carry a mace, I carry a pepper spray, and I said prayers up to the good Lord that nothing happens. And it wasn't the first time that Romeo's been attacked. And I don't, listen, I love animals and I love dogs. But if that's a repetitive, repeat offense of the animal, I feel that the owner should be held accountable in some kind of a assault. So my question, I gotta get the laws changed.
So bitch and attack a dog, it wasn't the same dog that attacked Romeo? Both
That
dogs?
was the one supposed to speak.
Okay, so
Right.
if a dog attacks another dog, domesticated animals, an animal control should come in and they will make an assessment or do a citation of a potential vicious dog. That then goes to the court. The court will make the determination whether or not that dog is vicious or not. So it's a process and, you know, it's. Once we issue and once we get animal control involved, and I'm not trying to pass it off, but once it goes to the court, you know, somebody will come in and go, oh, my dog's a good dog, this, that, the other. So, but that is the process. So if a dog attacks another dog, then there can be a vicious or potentially dangerous dog. I'm sorry, it's potentially dangerous and then vicious dog. That's the succession.
So this has been passed over to animal control.
Animal control, every time there's a dog like theirs, they're notified.
I'm very limited to the information that I can supply with it. I, you know, glad about that.
In terms of reporting, so, and I'm not trying to, there may have been a lot of miscommunication. Yes, it typically is 7 to 10 business days for a police report, just because the officer has to write it. You may not be able to write it right at that during his shift because we're running around. Once it's written, then it needs to go to the supervisor to approve it or not approve it. And then if there are any issues for them to approve or to correct, then so we like to give it 7 to 10 business days. Most reports don't take 7 to 10 business days. I know that when you did come in to submit some more records, our records clerk was not aware that you wanted the report at that point in time. She thought you were just submitting some more paperwork. Otherwise, the paperwork was done.
Okay.
Yeah, it was done.
Okay.
So I apologize for any miscommunication.
What do you mean, we're talking about our dogs, so.
Yeah, so, yeah, Angela,
Yeah, she's a sweetheart.
she is so sweet.
She is. I feel that the owners should be accountable. It wasn't just my incident.
No,
And
I
we said it
absolutely agree.
And you know, what happened to my neighbor was horrific, you know what I'm saying? So I know she went right away, got a lawyer, she had to be shipped to Cuba. You know, issuing citations and the owners not, being responsible enough to pay them, because I'm sure they know, you know, as I get into it, you know. That, it's an assumption I really shouldn't make, but, you know, is it pursued? I mean, is it?
So once it gets to the court, I don't think that a judge, and you may have more insight to this, I don't think they'll put out a warrant for not paying a municipal ordinance. I don't know, and you know, so it's like, we do all that we can with the police department with our code and what we can do with our ordinances. So, you know, maybe it is something that we need to review and, you know, because I know, yes, they are supposed to be registered. We have dogs here in town. We have dogs at large that are not registered, we issue, you know, it's like, so we work within our code to do what we can.
Well, after Romeo's attack on this past Thursday, 2 pit bulls got loose, they almost went to Pittsburgh Manor, they were right by the sliding doors of the farm.
Okay.
And then an hour later, my girlfriend and I were coming out of the post office, and these kids were running, and across the street was a Rottweiler and a black and white. I think you guys got the black and white. Well, it was 2 days ago. That's the whole officer. Not white. Forget, I bet, bringing it up, at least for me, that looks like a dog. So that was in the same day, 4 dogs in the same day. It almost seems like there was malice. Like word got around to these dog owners and they let them out.
Oh, no.
It's epidemic, that's all, when they let you.
Yeah, I have a question, does animal control patrol our streets?
I think you have to call them, right, Jerry?
They're in,
The one woman I talked to there
Yeah.
covers the county.
covers the county.
'Cause I
They may
remember-
be in sometimes in Ann Arbor.
I remember we had a golden retriever. He was 140 pounds. He was the biggest teddy bear in the world. He used to love to run to the lake. He was at the lake and we get a call from Atlantic City that animal control picked up our dog who had a collar with his address and name on it. And we had to go down and pay $100 in Atlantic City to get our dog out of jail.
Somebody must have called.
No, animal control happened to be having his lunch at the lake. And on his edge arrested my dog. So it's not understanding why animal control doesn't, like, when I was a kid, they had a dog catcher.
Yeah, we used to have a local one.
Yeah,
Now,
so like,
It's
they
all
don't,
service.
they don't have that anymore? There's nothing.
It's a service that we buy into.
We don't even have,
I just know that I have a lot of fear walking my dog.
Meg,
I'm sorry.
takes the registrations for the dogs? Is it you, the two of you? Because we don't really have anybody on there, right? We have like maybe one or two animals on the registration.
One or two.
Do we have that many? Cause I look at the, yeah, do we have a lot registered?
Probably around 54.
54? Okay.
Well, I
thought it
gotta
was-
tell you, just
How much
by going
There's gotta be a lot.
Door to door and knock on door.
from
Yeah,
door
yeah.
to door,
That's what I'm,
there's more than 54 dogs in it.
absolutely.
the census.
Absolutely.
But I
I'm just
think,
saying.
I'm not to prolong this,
Would
but
you
I
give them
think what Debbie's saying is that it's kind of like almost an assault with a deadly weapon when you let your dog run free like that, and if it's a mean dog. And it just defies logic that the only thing, not any fault of yours, that this guy gets is just let his dog run. I think that's
Well,
what the.
I don't think that's necessarily, well, I don't think that's necessarily true though either, because, you know, police will cite, then there'll be a court order for a violation of whatever the municipal code is, to the extent that there is bodily injuries or injuries to property, which a dog would be considered property, you can bring a civil suit, right, against the person for, you know, whatever those damages would be. So, I mean, you can do as much as you can from an enforcement standpoint, and it sounds like Chief's doing what you can under the code. And then on top of that, you know, there's civil remedies that if there was an injury to the person or the property, they have every right to.
I think she's trying to listen to you and she can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying, and yeah, other than what the chief said, that there is a municipal court process where the person gets fined. Potentially, if the dog deemed vicious, they can order the dog be put down. And then on top of that, if a person or the animal was injured and there's damages there, you do have the option to file a lawsuit against the person.
So they're really not held accountable, or they're not fixing their fences, they're not securing or containing their dogs. That's what I see, that they're not doing it. They're not being short, you know, and, yeah, I guess my next step will be to call the state senator and see what we can go. I'm serious, I don't.
Bring it to the.
I love this neighborhood.
Yes.
You know what we could do? We could refer to our ordinance committee and look at what other towns are doing to solve problems like this. And Jerry, have you seen this in the other towns that you've worked?
No, not like this.
No.
No, not like this, but my experience with our animal control was very positive. We were able to, we had an animal bite one of our employees while they were doing a violation inspection. That dog was grabbed by animal control, brought to the animal shelter for 10 days. The dog was released to the owner that day, or at that moment that the dog was released, the dog turned on the owner. And so that dog had to be put down, right? So I've had a positive experience with our animal control because they're very responsive. They're always in the county. They respond within hours. But as you're walking your dog and other dogs are attracted to your dog and want to fight and all of that stuff, that's a very scary situation. I'm not sure. And I could check with other municipalities because I belong to an administrators association that we kind of share this information and these experiences. I'll see if they have anything that they've been able to present to their council that passed as far as an ordinance that may have strengthened the ability to deal with dogs that, dogs that are.
You know, another thing, when we were going through the cat situation over at the village, I was talking to the woman that covers Lake Harbor City for animal control. Nicole.
Yeah.
And I think she would be willing to come to a meeting like this and talk about ways that we can address this, working with the police, our code people, and try to come up with a
That's a good idea. She's extremely
action
bright.
plan.
She's extremely bright, very responsive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
Nicole has been writing whenever we call,
She told me anytime we need any questions answered or whatever, she would come.
I
So-
can extend, if you want, for the 26th, I can extend that
Please.
invitation to her and her boss and have them come.
That'd be great.
We can see what animals.
But I do think
They're
we
the
need
ones
to
who
go
are
back
on the
to our
ground.
ordinance
boots
too,
on the
because we have
ground
many
in the
people that
county.
call saying how many dogs are we allowed.
Do you have this? Do you have that? If we don't have it.
Well, they have to be on leash, I know that much. Can't be running loose and.
Actually, Jerry can look at other towns and see what they have.
I mean, yeah, always saying, how many dogs are you allowed?
I'm gonna give you my card.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else wish to be heard in the audience? Yeah.
That's all right.
I just wanted to say, Jerry, you're doing an amazing job. Amazing. Don't
Tell
worry
them,
about,
tell those guys up there.
Oh,
Yeah.
We know it.
worry about all the parking, just.
That's, yeah, I'm okay with that, yeah.
So, you keep doing what you're doing. You're on point. All right, guys, have a good night.
Thank you.
Very good. Anyone else wish to be heard?
Close on that one.
Is that,
And no one else? Is there a motion to adjourn?
make a motion?
Amos.
Motion made second, all in favor?
Aye.
Vote.